Today is a weird one for all of us, for I've found what seems to be one of the biggest dramas in the Final Fantasy XIV community. It got so big that people were calling other people out for their fetishes, an entire race within a fictional setting was conflated with IRL racist issues, and two streamers got into a beef because they agreed with each other? But one of them was tilting himself even further into anger.
I didn't get to finish through the whole video.
And there it is! There it is! Literally mad for nothing.
What, pray tell, could have done this to the not weird, totally ordinary community that is Final Fantasy XIV that has won awards? A chair. Yes, a chair caused all this. To be honest, I didn't want to talk about this at all, but seeing how I am some sort of figurehead in the community, I guess I should say something about it? Just to get out of the way, I guess. So this whole thing started with this chair. A chair that belongs in a house for whomever wants to own it. This chair, for everything that it started, is completely harmless and means nothing in the grand scheme of things. The drama revolves around people and their short logic who take things too far and perhaps have nothing else to do. You see, the Lalafell lifter boosts the Lalafell's race to the height of everyone else at the table. These are short people. They can hardly see over the dashboard of a car, and when they are driving, well, I don't even know how they're reaching the pedals. Oh wait, they're not touching the pedals, and what, how? Lalafells, for some context, are the diminutive people of Final Fantasy XIV. They are based on their alternative selves from Final Fantasy XI, the Tartaru. And due to their small selves, they have a shorter camera level, jump as high as everyone else, and are seen as the chibi race of the game. Chibi meaning smaller, cuter version of other characters or people. Now, the Lalafell are a respected race in the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. They are the majority race who are descendants of the people of Mach and can hold their own against any human race or monster, seeing how players can be one of them. The whole short thing is a story as old as time for fantasy games. We have such creatures like gnomes, dwarves, hobbits, and halflings, all having respective purposes in their world, but not always respected. Lalafells fortunately do have some respect in their name. Most are hardcore merchants ready to outsmart their rivals, and some are dedicated to magic, as they are the race with the most affinity towards black magic. And though they are called small or short throughout the story, they are not to be trifled with in most cases. Lalafells are inherently deceptive and are always scheming, even if it has no ill intent. And yes, deceptive and scheming does sound pretty bad, but if you're a small race trying to survive against a whole bunch of other races that are taller than them, they have to be smart. So this isn't making fun of them, this is a warning. The Dwarves of the First are seen as great crafters, though they are prone to hate their cousins across the way, some ancient hatred or some such. Both, however, are great crafters in their own right and have proven to be just as great warriors. So come to find out that people, IRL, are so weird with Lalafells, it's starting to seem like an issue to some. The majority for sure don't see how a chair plus Lalafell is a problem, though for the few, well, I think they need a hug. Apparently, it's quite common for a Lalafell player to be messed with, a thing that I'm familiar with, as I'm always being made fun of for being a tall lizard man. We are demons. Not lizards, nor dragons, demons. Having someone make fun of you in any MMO shouldn't be uncommon. Hell, just being an Alliance character in World of Warcraft is cause for some shenanigans. I don't get it, but it happens to me all the time. For some reason, when I'm hanging out with my friends who are playing World of Warcraft and are currently playing World of Warcraft, whenever I say I'm in an Alliance, well, now it's not a problem because we can raid together, but if it was before that, apparently I would have been made fun of, and my friends still made fun of me because I was in the Alliance anyway. I could have gone Horde in the beginning, but I went Alliance because of the Worgen, because they are wolf people without a tail for some reason. Yo, real stuff, give those bitches a tail. Please. Now, here's the thing. All this making fun of people for their race, be it a Lalafell in Final Fantasy XIV, Vulpin in World of Warcraft, the Asura in Guild Wars 2, or gnomes in any fantasy setting, all of it is for laughs 9 times out of 10, meaning it's never serious. But for some reason, in the world of Eorzea, Lalafells are akin to a discriminated race, which is news to me. Lalafells have always been made fun of, and most often not at their expense. It's just a thing with Lalafells, and even more so, they have access to dwarven homes in the Shadowbringers expansion. Not much of a unique thing, but it's still something. If anything, the Lalafell Lifter is yet another unique thing for Lalafells in terms of character. But of course, this always leads to the silliest things I've ever heard, and we'll get to that soon. I mean, they are seen as childlike, and it's definitely on purpose. Look at their description. This characteristic for Lalafell is for sure for those who like to be chibi or childlike. There is nothing wrong with being childlike, just like how there shouldn't be nothing wrong with players being a Vulpin in World of Warcraft. I hope. This childlike characteristic is seen as a problem to some, saying that people who have certain fetishes are attracted to these little buggers. Now, I know more than anyone that Final Fantasy XIV attracts incredibly degenerate people, some who often use mods to take certain pictures out in the open, if you know what I mean. And yes, there are stories of whole FCs being like this, be it RP or just plain gathering events. 14 definitely can attract those kinds of people, and let me just say, I'm definitely not for that, but I have never come across those kinds of things. They stay in their lane, and I stay in mine. For the most part, people in the community know when to not act out. I mean, yeah, people do act weird on my screen all the time with emotes, but when a person starts sending me messages or shouts that disturb the public, I have this secret weapon called the block and report button to take care of those problems. If I had the ability to selectively mute people's voices that I don't want to hear and it's just for me, this would have been a totally different world, but that is not reality. I feel that people are making molehills out of nothing, because honestly, you have to go out of your way to search for these degenerates in order for you to interact with them. Most know the TOS, and most don't go around saying that they have mods installed to the masses, because that is a one-way trip to a ban and possibly the loss of your account. But unfortunately, Lalafells are part of this circle, and there are definitely people out there that will do weird things with them. Those people are usually not a problem, but I will acknowledge that there are a minority of people that may use Lalafells for minor associated activities, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that is that they keep to themselves. They stay in their lane. They make sure they aren't shouting to the heavens who they are. They keep their fetishes to themselves. There is no doubt with how Final Fantasy XIV is with its glamour and its characters and how you can dress them up, that there are really eccentric people within the game that have weird fetishes, let's say. I mean, it's still bad, and I'm not trying to advocate for them, but they're in there somewhere. But these people have already been that way before the chair, and they will be that way after the chair. So even if this chair never existed, we'd still have these disgusting people, like it or not, and you would never know. Do I want them in the game? Not really, no, but that's not my call to make. Fortunately, as I said before, none of them show their fetishes in the public, at least I hope so. I mean, I've been to Bulmung. Enough said, right? Oh, and lastly, about this whole racial thing with Lalafells, I'll be going off script for the rest of this video. Now, there's a reason why I have to show my face, as I am a colored person, I am a black man, and I've been a black man my entire life, so I already know a lot of things when it comes to racial profiling or anything in terms of a racist situation since I've lived it. So as a black man, I'm going to say this right now, when it comes to Lalafells, there's no racial connotation. There's nothing racist going on there. People make fun of every single race within 14, every single one. Sure, Lalafells get hit a lot with it, but it's not usually racist. It's the expense of laughter. That's it. Memeing. That's all it is. Nothing racist. Just because people make fun of short people, which is, you know, Lalafells, the short guys, the small guys, of course, you make fun of them, of course, but like, it's not like it's to be racist or mean. It's just making fun of. I get made fun of all the time for being an Aura, because I'm seen as a tall walking lizard person, even though we all know I'm a demon. All Auras are demons, basically. Not a lizard. But when you look at Lalafells and they're being conflated for racism in terms of their situation, you're thinking too much into it, man. You don't need to think too much into this. Lalafells are Lalafells. They're small creatures, right? They're small little people. Every fantasy setting has some sort of small person or people. Dwarves, gnomes, hobbits, halfling, all the time. Sometimes elves are seen as small. But look, it's a nothing burger of a situation. Do not conflate Lalafells with any IRL racial issue. Do not conflate it, because it's very demeaning, to be honest. It's very demeaning. There are a lot of racial situations that's out there in the world, right? Of course, the country that I live in, the United States, is the least racist it can be. The point is, Lalafells aren't going through a racial situation within the game. Lore-wise, no. If it's in terms of players, yeah, people make fun of you all the time. You're just gonna have to grow a backbone, right? I get made fun of all the time, okay? Play the game. We also have block buttons. We also have a report button, all right? You don't need to talk to people. It's basically a solo game at this point, all right? And if you don't want to be a Lalafell, here's this thing called a Fantasia. In real life, I can't just drink a potion and become another race. I am a black guy, and I'm going to stay a black guy for my whole life, all right? The conflation of Lalafells and any racist situation in real life is ridiculous. Please do not do that, please. As we are to not say JRPGs anymore, because Yoshi P felt that was discriminatory, and I could see why he said that. And this whole entire chair thing, also a non-issue. If you look at that chair and you're like, oh, they're gonna see Lalafells as kids and babies, it's like, yeah, they're a childlike race. They're small, they're diminutive. They are seen as childlike. And yeah, there are really degenerate people who are going to look at Lalafells and make believe that they are children. Yeah, right? We know that that's a thing. Okay? They're RPing with their friends who accept that. It's on them. People play as they are, and especially in RP, you go beyond the imagination of that just a regular player. You go beyond. You have like your own profile and info and everything on your character of who you want them to be. You have like a bio and stuff. I give credit to all the RPers who are able to do that kind of stuff, but not me. It's not me. But there are degenerate people who play the game. There's always been degenerate people who play the game. And if you are worried about a booster seed or the Lalafell lifter to introduce or open the gates of people who are even more degenerate because of like some sort of child thing and more like, I guess you could say child play because of that seat, you are thinking way too hard about it. It's just a chair. And even if someone does use it in that kind of way, why are you worried about it? If they do that in private, why are you worried about it? It's not like they're going to put the chair in the middle of, Limsa and start sitting in there and calling every, male character that comes by, "Hey, what's up, daddy? How you doing, daddy? You want to take me with you, daddy?" Like, that's just a worst case scenario. Sorry I put that image in your head. I do apologize for that. The point is that I think people are either bored or thinking too much about this. This is a nothing burger of a situation. It's just a chair that you put in your house. You do not have to worry about a damn thing about that opening some sort of gate of perversion, because you know what? A lot of the fan base for 14 are perverted, okay? A lot of people who play 14 are perverted, okay? They're degenerates, okay? All right? Like, I'm saying it right now. I'm saying the truth right now. There are a lot of very degenerate people who play 14, but you know what they're not doing? They're not hindering my play. They're not disturbing me. They're just staying in their lane. They're doing whatever they want. They're playing the game the way they want. They are perhaps doing something with a mod, hopefully not, but it's not turning my enjoyment of the game upside down. Sometimes I get people in dungeons who roleplay their character the entire time. It's kind of entertaining, to be honest, but it's not hindering my gameplay and my time playing the game. It is what it is, all right? Sorry I have to tell you that. No, I'm not sorry. The chair is a fucking chair, okay? It's just a chair. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think about all this, about the Lalafells, about the chair, in the comments below. I do interact with my comments, so, I'll be watching now. Let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, let's get me back to 10,000 and let's go beyond, because I do want to talk about general stuff on Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not really doing much in terms of lore right now, or possibly anymore, and I'll talk about that in another video. But if you want to hear more of my voice, there's the subscribe button. It's just a chair. That's all this was, for a chair. See you guys later. Oh my god, it's just a chair. I'm too tired and old for this, I swear. Why do you guys have so much to say about a damn chair. Really, like, it's so dumb. Ugh.